Hello there, Jerry. How you doing?
I'm all right, mate.
Yeah,
All right.
as we were saying, welcome to part two. But as we were saying, these people they're not going to go anywhere, Jerry. Anthony Joshua's, your Tyson Furies, and people are even though they've made 200 million a piece out of the job, they're not going anywhere because there's more money to be made. More greed is about getting more. Once you get
Yeah.
that kind of money, you just want more and more and more. Do you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
time for him to step aside. I'm sick to the back teeth for the same people getting on talks, but the same 20 odd people. There's
Yeah.
more in boxing than these 20 to 28 people that are getting on there all the time and that we're talking about. Your Conor Benn, your Eubank, your Tyson Fury, your Joshua. You got there's more than them lot, mate. There's over 1,000 license holders in country. Do you see where I'm coming from?
100% agree with you, mate.
Sick
100%
to the
agree.
back teeth of it. The same people giving them the same free gratis. These YouTubers, they're all in the pockets.
Yeah.
They're all palled up. Everybody's pal. It's just closed shop. And there's only me flying the flag, and I'm just about coming to end of my tether. A few more months, I could be out of this game, kid. I am sick to the back teeth of it.
I
I'm
understand.
Jane Couch told me I'd get like this. I went, no, no, no. I'm sick to death of it, mate. It's just, there's no changes being made. I thought I could make a change. There's no changes being made. I'm wasting a lot of time, a lot of finances on a load of shit that's the same old promoters that earns and warrants. It's the same old merry-go-round. And
Yeah.
it's always going to be like that. There's no changes going to be made. The boxing's it's a fractured sport. Do you know what I mean? Fractured from mandatories, rematches to drug testing. There's nothing changing. I'm wasting my fucking time with it, mate. But we'll plod on and we hope that, we see a bit of light at the end of the rainbow. But Joshua's not going anywhere. Matchroom are not going to let him. Fury's not going anywhere. He says he's retired. He retires every fight. After every fight, he retires. Oh, I'm retired. And if I fight again, it's my last one. So everybody pay for pay-per-view because you might never see me again. And that's how it is. It's repeat, 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 repeat to such an extent that people are starting maybe to listen to me a little bit. Look at Fury's CV. It's pish poor for the amount of
Yeah.
hype, isn't it?
Yeah.
All that hype
Definitely.
when he's fighting Chisoras and Wallins and Whites and Ngannou's. Load of shit. He steps up and gets licked twice by Usyk and he crawls away under a rock.
It's pathetic.
You know what I mean? That's what we're up against here, but they're not going to go anywhere. Joshua and Fury, they're here to stay while ever there's Saudi money there. They'll be punching for pay while the Chisora's are. So get ready. They keep reinventing themselves. Look how many times Dave Allen's reinvented himself. He still got there eventually, didn't he?
Yeah. I just don't think Joe Joyce would be that sort. I don't think he's got enough um
Brain cells
steam.
left in his head.
Well, he's not as bad as like someone like Dillian White, trying to stay relevant by doing whatever. Because let's face it, Dillian White's been off the radar for a good wee while, apart from two rubbish fights in the
Joe
last
Joyce is the big
year.
stiff, right? With no brain cells in his head. He needs saving from himself. Him and Chisora. Do you remember when they fought, him and Chisora? What did they say?
Yeah,
They were the last dance then, didn't they? Oh, it were whoever losers that had at game, didn't they? They're not.
yeah,
Joyce has got a payday against White, and Derek's just had another, hasn't he? And they just keep going,
yeah,
going, and going. While ever there's that Saudi money there, if they get a loss, they'll go say something stupid on YouTube. They'll turn up at a show. They'll flip a table. They'll do whatever. They'll jump in bed with an anaconda and open their legs. They will honestly, or they'll get down on the knees in front of Purple Aki. That's what they'll do, mate. And this is the damned indictment of the sport as it is today, Jerry. Brassers.
yeah.
We're
I
surrounded
just think,
by brassers.
I just think that like obviously Chisora, like he said the same thing after the second Pulev fight. You know, he's obviously got a track record of doing this and keeping, just when are you going to go away? So that's the only reason why I was sort of saying I couldn't see Joyce doing that because he just doesn't have he just doesn't seem to have that sort of profile about himself. Whereas, yeah,
Nobody's
you're
got
right.
people around him that'll be pushing him into it. Oh, no, you've got something left in tank, Joe. You know, that's got something there. Dennis is always saying when people say, "Do you know what, Dennis, I'm thinking of packing in." He said, "No, no, no, I think that's got something there. That's got something." Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? And you'd be like, "Oh, you get your head turned." That's what happens. People will do anything for a few quid. Joe Joyce is not going to get a job at Aldi, is he?
probably not.
Well, there you go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what we're up against. But look, boxing, it's fractured, and a lot of them come out with pure shit, and it's like they're a disease. And there's only one cure, and that's me. Because when that ice breaks, I will be waiting. Isn't that right, Big Joe Egan? Hey, with your fantasy island stories, you'll be crying in your soup this week. You pop pop bang. Uh, is Ben Shalom's goose cooked?
Certainly seems that way, doesn't it? I said ages and ages and ages ago, and I don't think you agreed with me, but I said I can see Eddie Hearn getting the Sky gig again. So I think Shalom's goose is cooked. We may never see him again, but it looks like his time at Sky is coming to an end sooner rather than later, I think.
Yeah, shame in it.
Well, I mean, he found himself in a very how did he get that gig in the first place? And now,
Nobody knows, do they? Nobody knows what he did, but he's from Doe anyway, so
yeah,
he's going to be at
and
Banks, is he, like rest of us?
he's not been the kind of he's not resurrected boxing on Sky the way I think Sky have obviously hoped he would. Because he's obviously had to do a bit of talking to get himself into the to be appear believable. So don't know what's on the cards for him going forward, but I reckon Hills and Warren will be chomping at the bit to get some of that Sky exposure again.
Yeah, well, look, I look at it like this, right? Eddie Hills wants that gig back. Hills, he wants the Sky gig back. Everybody
Yeah,
knows it because he's in the wilderness, but because Eddie's got a bit of fire in his belly. He's not just going to let Bricktop walk all over him, but he ain't got that art. He hasn't got the hero, the turkey, has he? Like Bricktop has. That's where Bricktop's. He had an ace up his sleeve, didn't he? With that.
yeah, yeah,
So maybe Eddie might crawl away like his dad did 25 years ago. You know, after Chris Eubank finished, his dad more or less crawled away, didn't they? They're hardly putting any shows on. I think their best fighter for years were Tony Dodson, won it. So that's how I look at it. But I just think that Eddie put all his eggs in one basket with Big Meech. I
yeah.
don't,
Well, it certainly seems that way, Russ.
yeah. What do you think to Dubois Parker next week? Next week,
Right.
week of Saturday, innit?
Yes. On the 22nd, mate. So, right. I'm picking Dubois, right? Um, and that's you always say go with your gut, Russ. So that's my gut feeling, right? But I'm also going to say that I do think Parker has a chance. He's got the experience. He's had a good run of form. He's been active.
Yeah.
Um, he's not he's not too old, and he's clever. He's also still got a bit of speed about him. So um, I give him a good chance. And if he wins, I hope he does win because I want the upset. That makes things a bit more interesting, I think. But my gut says he gets knocked out mid rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think?
I think Dubois will just deal with him inside 4 rounds. Me personally, I think
Okay.
he's got his tail up now. Dubois, once you get that belt as a champion, you start icing people. You start thinking you're invincible. And I think he's got that look about him now. He's in his prime. I think he just wipes floor with Parker. I mean, Parker's been fighting old men, hasn't he? and they've been bigging him up. I'm not saying Andy Lee's not a good trainer. He's done well with Parker, but fighting, he's been beating old men. You know what I mean? Your Joe Joyces and Zangs, they're old men, aren't they?
They're old men, but they are the people who've been making up, the top 15. So,
Yeah, I understand. I understand that, but Parker's for me, he's just a top 10 guy. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, that's fair
the
enough.
bar's up there now. Usyk, he looks like he might be done. I think the bar's the main man, and I just think he wipes him out. And all them people saying Parker, Parker, he's got Andy Lee and this and that, blah blah blah. Whatever, everybody's entitled to an opinion, but
Yeah,
Parker, for me, he's been knocked about. I mean, Dylan White beat him, didn't he? Now, if Dubois, you've got Dubois winning, and you've got
yeah,
Chisora win, have you got McCauley beating a Jagba?
yes, I do
So
have.
what they're going to do, Bricktop's going to say, as he said this morning, well, we've got our mandatory obligations. They're going to hide behind that load of shit now. So do you think they give McCauley step aside and they put, Derek War Chisora in with Dubois, feed him into him and give him his 50th fight, and Bricktop gets his revenge because he left him for Eddie Hills, didn't he? You remember?
Yeah, that's a horrific situation because of everything we mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah,
Well, in the first video, that's horrific, and it's potentially, given what happened to John Cooney, obviously, the Irish fighter,
yeah,
at the weekend, that is potentially super dangerous for Derek Chisora's health, and it's slightly sickening to stick in. Up, you said it yourself. So Dubois is on the crest of a wave. I do think he's totally beatable, right? But he's on the crest of a wave. He's got that killer. You know, he's like a bull, just all fired up. He's got the belt. He's looking to just put people out. Knock them out. And you stick a shot worn, mumbly, goofy, come straight ahead guy who was puffing and blowing after the first round
yeah.
in the Volin fight. You stick him in with a fresh, angry beast. He's a dead man. So I hope that's not going to happen. I hope it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I do. I do. Speaking of John Cooney's death, what did you think to that shower at Talksport? Coming out
Um,
safety for boxing and all this, and I know may he rest in peace and all the best condolences and all that to his family. I feel it's terrible what's happened to a young man like that in his prime. But what do you think to Talksport talking about safety in boxing?
well, their Talksport for a start are absolute drivel, but unfortunately, because they've got that whole, they're massive because of the football coverage. So they've got the boxing coverage then as well, and because they've got, I know a lot of guys who aren't into boxing, and they'll have Talk Sport on and they'll catch the boxing stuff as well. So that's like casual kind of interest, maybe, and guys like that will hear what's on the likes of Talk Sport and they'll take that as gospel. You know yourself, Russ. They'll take this as gospel, and that becomes the word on the street then. So you've got these guys in one hand looking to match up Derek Chisora, get him in, talk him in to this position that he shouldn't really be in, and potentially life threatening, in one form or another, fight for Derek Chisora. But then on the other hand, you've got them saying about this is terrible about what's happened, John Cooney, boxing safely. Don't remember what happened, jug ears, you know, and that's total hypocrisy. But what would you expect from these guys? Because they their channel is sickening. Their coverage is sickening. It's like a horrible little club that they've formed, and quite frankly, it disgusts me. And I only ever catch the odd video if I think it might be something that's worth listening to. Generally, I'm disappointed though, Russ.
They're going into bat for the mates, aren't they? That's what it is. Like Jug Ears, he goes into bat for all things Finchley, and you've got like I remember when Dennis went on Talksport a few months ago, and Juggies would have got him on there because he's like captain of British team, Roy Jones captain of American team, and Dennis has been putting shows on, hasn't he, in America.
Yeah,
Watching it, and I know how Dennis works. I worked for him for over 6 years, and I was thinking, well, look at that there. Obviously, I hadn't spoken to Dennis for a while, but I was looking at it, I'm thinking, I know what's gone on there. Dennis would have said, get me on Talksport, and Juggies would have said, listen, you need to come out and get me mixed to train Anthony Joshua. And what did Dennis do? He went on Talksport, but I don't know this as gospel. Well, I
yeah,
know how Dennis works. He would have wanted to scratch his back. And he said, I think, Anthony Joshua should let Spencer Oliver and Roy Jones train him. I mean, what on earth is Dennis coming out with there? Even Dennis knows that's knackers, but he's going to say, well, I'm doing it best for my fighters. Like when you catch somebody and they're so two-faced. I said, oh my God. So he sat out with him at bar overnight. He told me he couldn't stand him yesterday. Well, I've got to do it best for my fighters. Pop, pop, bang. You know what I mean? No backbone on none of these people. Even Dennis he should be ashamed of himself, brassing himself
yeah.
off like that. Juggy is Oliver training Anthony Joshua. Oh my God, he must have been really working on AJ's ego, him.
I
Hey?
saw the video.
Well,
I saw
between
that
him and the
video.
guy tickling his arsehole after Usyk fight, didn't he? Before he burst out crying, Joshua.
Yeah, yeah.
You were beating the best pound for pound fighter in the world for the first 10 rounds. You were ahead. What are you coming out with, Juggy? Stop putting that Colombian up your hooter, you little rat. Hey? Unbelievable, man. It's rat behaviour, a bit like Flex, who Ben Whittaker can't stand. He's doing interviews saying, oh, would you train Ben Whittaker, Flex? He's gone, no, no, not for me, not for me, not for me. What, Olympic medalist, and you wouldn't train him? What did he get, Whittaker? A silver?
Yes, that's right. He got a silver.
He's saying he won't train in Olympic silver, old Flex. Yeah, because he don't like you. But then he's throwing his hat into the ring to train Fury, a three-time drug cheat. Hey? You couldn't make it up, could you? Because he knows he's going to get a nice bit of lolly with Fury, doesn't he? I look at
Of
it
course
like
he
this.
does.
Hand your keys in for that gym, Flex, because you're not training any amateurs and no pros want to go here. You're finished. You washed up. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. Povetkin. His last 10 fights that he won on or something, they're all going to be no contests. And he's got a 4-year ban. What do you make of that? And what do you make of these YouTubers only asking David Price about Povetkin beating him, but they didn't ask Dylan White, did they, at that presser?
Okay, I'll probably say something very controversial.
Well, let's say it. This is what we're all about on here, Jezza.
I don't agree with that, mate. I don't agree with it. The ship is sailed. Whereas I need to see. I haven't been following the story. Just caught obviously bits and pieces from different videos, but I haven't actually read the actual news that covers what is exactly going on. So
No,
I
you're
don't know
side
how.
swerving that, Jezza.
Say it again, mate.
Side swerving there, Jezza.
Um, well, I think I know enough about it to comment though. I think you can't you can't go back and do this to one guy unless you go back and do it to every guy who's
Everybody.
failed. Huh?
Got to do it to everybody, haven't you? All them that have been doped up, you've got to take
Yes, mate.
like we've got to take the Christian Hamer win off Tyson Fury's record, haven't we?
Yes, mate. That is exactly.
If you're going to do it to Povetkin, you've got to do it to everybody. You've got to take them wins off
Yes.
Roy Jones.
Yes.
You know what I mean? At Holyfield, you've got to go down the line and do them all. You can't
Yep.
just do him because he retired and you want to make a stance against drug cheats. You've got to go down the line and do the lot of them. That's what you've got to do.
100%.
But then you can argue, well, is it performance enhancing? Is it recreational? Listen, people take cocaine in boxing when they're struggling in fight week because it takes the hunger pains away. They also take amphetamine and things
Hmm.
like that. Now, for me, if you're done with anything, weed helps you sleep better. So if you've been done for weed, coke, any recreational, any performance enhancing drug, because it all has an effect for what type of person you are. Some people don't need weed to sleep if they've trained the bollocks off all day. Some people can't get to sleep at night, so they need weed to get their head down if the
Yeah,
box. You see, so they've got to go down the line and do the lot of them. They can't just do Povetkin. So that's my gripe with it. But my other gripe is these shithouse YouTubers that are putting it on David Price every time he's trying to take his seat to watch the boxing and going on about Povetkin beat you, didn't he? How do you feel about him being your loss being classed as a no contest and all that? They've got to go and put it on Dylan White when he's in the same building 30 yard away, aren't they? But they didn't want to do
yeah,
it because Dylan White's a four-time cheat. See where I'm coming
yeah,
from? So we've got to have a balance, haven't we?
yeah. So the way I look at it is, so it's not realistic.
Fury either, Tyson Fury either, did they? He was sat there as well.
It's not realistic,
He didn't
obviously,
fight
then, to do
Povetkin, did
this.
he? Sorry, go on.
It's not realistic, mate, to do this. So this is why you're bringing this up now. It's fucking pointless. Also, yeah, what is it he's supposed to take in? Because I know one of the tests that during the Wilder fight they were meant to be sorting out between Povetkin and Wilder. What Povetkin got done for was originally not banned, and then as soon as it was banned, he come off it. And then whenever they did the tests or whatever, he had a trace amount in it. And as far as I am aware, having done a bit of research on it back in the day, obviously when it was sort of news, he was within a legal acceptable limit of this drug or whatever substance it was. And obviously Wilder just was able to use that to dodge the fight. And the whole thing ended up in two lawsuits between either camp. But anyway, back to the actual point. So you can't go around persecuting this guy as an example. The guy's retired, so it's laughable that you're going to try and ban him. Whose logic is this? This is just crazy talk. And if you're going to make an example of someone, you need to go back to all the known failed drug tests fighters and do them as well and start messing with the records, because doing it with one guy seems like it's some kind of political. There's something else at play here because he's Russian and all that type of stuff. Who's calling the shots here? Do you know what I mean? So I don't. It doesn't sit well with me. You also have people saying Dillian White could potentially sue Povetkin for money. Why? The man's a 4-time drug cheat, 5-time if you do include the kickboxing one. Don't don't be like it's the most hypocritical stance ever. So they go to a safe guy. Obviously, I think Tony Thompson got done for drugs as well when he fought after the Price fights. So the Tony Thompson his wins have to be taken off him. Then you have to do it to them all. You can't just do it to one guy. So therefore, this is utterly pointless. So there's no point in doing it. That's my stance.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Jerry. I agree, but like I said, those people that kept putting it on David Price, they never bowled over to White, did they? To put it to
Yeah.
ask him what he thought about Povetkin beating him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because White's a drug cheat, and he could hardly say anything, could he really?
Yeah, and the poor old David Price just looked like he wanted to get on with his day in the interview I seen. And he also didn't seem to be that bothered, to be
Yeah,
perfectly frank.
yeah. Let me ask you about these fights. I'm not sure if I've asked you about them. Fury Wilder 4. Do you want to see it?
Oh, no way. No,
Fury on Garno rematch.
no, no.
Fury Wardley.
To see Wardley test himself and potentially cause a crazy, crazy upset, yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Well, the Fury's making a big announcement in it end of week. So Fury White 2.
No,
Fury Chisora 4.
no.
Fury Parker.
Um, Possibly
If
to
Dubois does Parker, you could see Fury feasting on his bones, couldn't you?
possibly. Yeah, I'll say yes to that one.
Fury Itoma.
Yeah, yeah,
Fury Dubois.
yeah, yep,
Just to see him get lit up.
Yeah, exactly.
Fury Usyk 3.
No,
Fury Joshua.
only to get a full stop at the end of the sentence. That's the only reason why I would say yes to that.
Yeah, it's gone on long enough now, but they're asking for mega millions, aren't they, Jerry? What's all that about?
Just greedy bastards, mate.
You know what I mean? It's leaves a bad taste in my mouth, all that, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
'Cause they've like outfoxed us for 14 years, made $250 million each, and they've got
Yeah.
cute at fucking British fans and been going America for world title fights and Saudi, and they've just been basically stood in penthouse, got the cocks out, and pissed all over British fans, haven't they? Really, and they just keep coming back for more and more and more. When does it end?
Well, I'm hoping it comes to an end soon because, as you said, it's went on for 14 years. We're sick of it, and I mean, can they not just make the bloody fight? And do they not actually want to see themselves who's the best out of both of them?
They've all got to hang their heads in shame, haven't they? Especially Matchroom because they've navigated Joshua through choppy waters since he turned pro with them, 12 years ago. But
Uh,
Spard Fury 14 years ago. So this fight's been 14 years in the making. Ever since Tyson did that interview on Buncey's Boxing Hour. Do you remember it when he had a podcast, Buncey, years ago?
yeah, yeah.
And I just think it's in bad taste what they've done to fans, but nobody wants to speak about it. None of these YouTubers or media guys want to say, come on, lads. You've had us on up 14 year now. You're getting on for $250 million a piece, and your investments is probably you're probably even worth more than that. You've got generational wealth. Why don't you just take what you've been offered? It's still millions and millions, and just put the fight on and give everybody what they want instead of just holding out for the exact word I'm saying is more. You see where
They
I'm
could
coming
do
from?
us 100%, mate. They could do us all a favor and just for once do something to pay the fans back by giving them what they want to see.
Yeah, but nobody wants to pull them up about the behaviour, do they? Everybody's scared to death. I look at these people like little weasels with these camera jockeys and media guys, even the old school guys. Gads and all them weasels. They're not saying to them, come on, play the game here, lads. Come on, get in ring. You're getting
Yeah.
millions. Just play the game. Don't you want to see who's the best? Play the game. You've already got millions in bank. Don't leave the money on the table, but play the fucking game. But they just can't do it, can they, Jerry? And it's just
No.
driving me insane. It is. I was talking to Canada Bob about it and that new kid I've got on, Anthony Austin, and they agree with me on this. I'm not saying I want everybody to agree with me. James agrees with me. I know Kent does as well. We just want them to play the game. That's all it is, you know?
Well, I mean, I've seen the Canada Bob interview and I thought it was very good.
It's all
And
right.
I agree. I agree as well. So that's another one. He just wants them to see them play the game as well.
Okay. Leigh Wood's going to be fighting
So
Casey
I see.
for IBO. It looks like he's going on DAZN. He's been missing. He'll have been missing about nearly nigh on 18 months when he's in ring. What do you think about Leigh Wood? Do you think he's a bit old now for a featherweight?
Well, he did say he was going to move up, and he kept complaining about making weight before. So uh, I thought there was some kind of speculation as to him and failed drug tests. So I
Yeah.
have to say, when that fight was announced, Ross, um, I was a little bit surprised.
Well, when
What?
all these fighters are having long layoffs at the peak, my spider sense tingles, Jerry. What did you
Well,
think to Darren Barker's interview with Crusher?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Jerry, you're swerving me.
No, I can't watch shit like that, mate. There's only so many hours in the day, like, and I don't want to give Crusher Ben and Don Barker my time.
I just want to run him over if I see him in real life. Uh, Ben Whittaker and Liam Cameron, it's nowhere near to be getting made. White Rhino and Elmer Ford, that's nowhere near to be getting made. Elmer's dad's bigger than ever. I mean,
All
he's
right.
waist size. He's on billboards everywhere. Thinks he's me. Uh, that's about it, really. Bricktop's still crying about the Fury scorecards with Usyk. Do you think Usyk's gone for good?
Um, I mean, having seen a few things with Alex Krasuk talking, I'm not quite sure what his next move is going to be. I get the impression that Usyk himself does not feel like he's finished. Although part of me wants to
Because
see
I
him.
think he's cooked.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I study punch statistics, don't I? And feints and how many rounds he takes off and that. And I think that he's not his output's not what it used to be. I think Fury
Eh,
were a lot. Fury made him look a bit better than what he were. Usyk didn't have that vigor that he's had in past. That's my own personal opinion. I've got statistics to prove it. But Fury's definitely on the slide. His legs have gone, you see. But the last ones to admit it, aren't they?
Well, I think Fury has been for a while. With Usyk, his kind of on the slide
Yeah, on the
isn't
slide,
quite.
should we say? Not like Josh Waddington, like who's shot to death.
Yeah, it's not quite the same. I mean, you can't deny that obviously he's older, and the stats are there, as you say. I think that's evident, but I still think like he might have enough in him for another couple of fights. But I would like to see him go out with the record perfect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would. I would.
Because he
Okie dokie
deserves it.
then, Jezza. Listen, thanks for coming on.
No problem, mate.
We've had a good laugh, haven't we?
Of
We
course.
always let rip, don't we?
Sure do, mate.
I've got Canada Bob and that new kid, Anthony Austin, wanting to come on again. They love it. I've got
Good
James
stuff.
chomping at the bit.
Nice one.
I wonder who's going to win the 100 quid this month.
Everyone loves an old chance to win 100 quid.
Yeah, who won it last month? James. James got in touch with me. He goes, I think I've won. I said, send me your bank details. And I said, I'm just going to need to double check that, James. I think he lost by about 100 and odd views to Teddy.
Harry.
Terry won it, and not that Terry needs it on about 200 bags a year. But a win is a win, and Terry's not a taker. He doesn't take out the sport. I bet only Terry takes out at sport is when I got him some commentating gigs with Fight Zone. And I bet
All
after
right.
his expenses, I bet he were left with no after a few beers. So he's not a taker. So it's nice to get a nice little tickle in it.
Of course, 100 quid. It's nothing to be sniffed at.
No, it ain't. So listen, Jerry, what you want to say before you go?
Just obviously hope you're doing good yourself, and
Yeah, thank
you
you.
don't get too disillusioned. Although it's totally understandable
Oh my
because
God,
sometimes.
mate. We'll give it another few months and see. I do it in 3 month stages, don't I? We'll give it, another 3 or 4 months, see how we go.
Because I think everybody would understand how you feel. So,
Oh,
because
I've
obviously,
been at it 7 year,
yeah,
7 year, 3 month, right? And what we're on, 15,000 and about 40 subs or something. Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? Which, what can you do? It's nobody gives me a leg up, do they? So I've had to do it all on my own. There's thousands of pounds gone into it, my money, other people's money as well. A lot of time and effort for
yeah.
what? But enough. I don't even feel like I've made a dent in the sport, mate. To be honest, it's still the same as it was. In fact, it's even worse, isn't it?
You could say that, mate. But anyone who knows the channel and knows what's going on, they
Yeah.
know that the truth is here. So,
Oh yeah. Well, we say it as we see it. But like I said, I I look at it and I think, well, we've got fighters here, right? We've got it's everything I'm against. Fighters that are knocked about, Chisora,
yeah,
Dylan White. Listen, a lot of them don't help themselves. They come out with a load of shit. They talk shit. And then next day they kiss somebody's ass, then they talk shit about that person and say that you don't know where you are with these people. And I'm thinking, what am I doing here? It can have
Yeah.
an effect on me as well personally. Because I walk in a petrol station the other day, somebody bumped into me. He goes, I'm ever so sorry, mate. This big John Candy, like John, a bit as big as John Candy, with a tray of Costa drinks coming out at petrol station. He goes, oh, sorry, mate, because you fucking will be. And I thought, wow, yeah, I'm gonna end up losing my rag. But somebody had sent me some on my phone regarding box, and I was like, oh my god, it just takes piss. And I just think, whoa, what's going on here? Where's the sport heading here? Where are we going with it here? What's going on here? Derek Chisora, he's stood in ring, and you've got Spencer Oliver there telling him he's got another fight in him. We're going to get you your 50th, Derek. And then he's talking next day about safety because there's some young man that John Cooney had died. And I'm like,
Yeah.
these people are like, they're your mate on a Monday, they want to stab you back on a Tuesday, they want to make you be your mate on a Wednesday. And how could you ever trust these people? And I'm starting to look at it a bit like Julian does, and I'm thinking, wow, I think I might have wasted 7.5 years doing this. And don't forget our 6 year plus with Big Ron. And what I
Yeah.
started with Big Ron April, didn't I? 2015. And I keep looking at April 2025 and thinking, do you know what? Could be coming to end here. I might have wasted a decade of my life, but I drove Dennis mad, didn't I, to do it? And I drove myself mad, and I wanted to have a look what it was all about. And I've seen it, and like Jane Couch says to me, it's not what you think it is. You know, might look pretty glamorous from outside, but once you get amongst the nitty gritty, it's awful, mate. It's absolutely awful. It's full of liars and vagabonds and that. And obviously, I was a career criminal before I started this, and I put myself in a good position to do this. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking there's more honour amongst thieves and criminals than there is in boxing. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. I'm not ashamed to admit that because when I've made mistakes, I've had to pay the fucking penalty heavily. But I've just
Yeah.
it's the backstabbing and the two-facedness and for instance, oh, Derek Chisora's finished. Look what Caball's done to him, and now always having an Indian summer just because it suits them to get 20% off his purse. And I'm looking at it from outside. I'm thinking, whoa, But we plod
Yeah.
on. I might change. I might, we'll see how next week goes, and I might see a fight with some two kids on a 4 rounder. I think, wow, that's restored my faith in the sport. You see where I'm coming from?
Of course.
You can only
Yeah.
try, can't we, Jerry?
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
All right then, mate. You take care.
You too, mate. Take it easy.
Mate, bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Nice to have Jerry on. Women love him, men want to be him. I think it's that magnum tash that men like on Jerry and his mullet. All right, pop, pop, bang. Go on, peace out. I've had enough today. What time is it? 11 minutes past 9 on the 11th of Feb, which is a Tuesday night. And I've been at it since 7 this morning. All right, that's a long day for me. Go on, booyaka.